Let's make in Blender these viral Y2K Chrome CD animations, just like Chrometype. In this beginner-friendly Blender tutorial, I will show you the easiest hacks to create a CD with a spiked jewel case. After that, we will level everything up with realistic Chrome and CD materials and finish it with custom Y2K textures. If you want eye-catching Blender animations, this is your upgrade. All you need for the project is linked in the description.
3D objects.
Let's start with the CD. First, we add a cylinder and push the vertices up to around 100 so everything stays smooth. The radius stays at 0.9, the depth super thin, and then we rotate it by 90 degrees on the y-axis. Now let's duplicate it a few times. One copy becomes the print layer. Scale it down slightly and push it a tiny bit forward. Another cylinder turns into the inner plastic. Scale it much smaller. And the last copy is only there to cut the hole, so we stretch it hard along the z-axis. Before we doing anything destructive, let's give every part its own material and rename everything properly. This keeps the scene clean and save us headache later, trust me. Now we can join the three cylinders to one object. To punch the hole inside the CD, we use a Boolean modifier. We take the stretched cylinder as the cutter and insert it into the Boolean modifier. If something looks off here, just switch the solver. That usually fixes instantly. And then apply the modifier. Now let's add some details. We jump into edit mode, switch to the add selection and grab a clean loop holding shift and the alt key at the same time. Do it in the front and in the back. Then we use the extrude along normals tool. First a bit deeper, and then a second time very subtle. This doesn't need to be perfect. Now, unlock Z-symmetry, and we nudge the shape slightly outward and push the interfaces back in. And just like that, the CD shape is done. Next, let's build the frame. We add a Bezier curve, switch to the edit mode, delete the default shape pressing the X key, and draw the frame using the pen tool. We only work in 1/4. Mirrors will do the rest later. In Blender 5, rounding curves isn't as straightforward anymore, so we use a workaround. We open geometry nodes, create a new setup, and add a fillet curve node. Once the curve feels right, we convert it to a mesh to apply everything. Then we convert it back to a curve. That's Blender. Now we give it thickness under the data tab, change the depth value, and increase the resolution so it stays smooth. To get a full CD case, we add now a mirror modifier and enable X, Y, and Z using the CD as mirror object. A bit of scaling and spacing, and the frame is done. Now the fun part, the spike shapes. We add the plane, switch to edit mode, and delete everything until one vertex is left. Here we only work with 1/4. We start extruding points by pressing the A key, connecting some of them by pressing the F key, and creating organic random shapes. There's no right or wrong here, stop when it feels balanced. Once the shape feels good, we convert it into a curve and add a subdivision surface. Now let's add some thickness. Switch to profile. We increase the depth and resolution. For more details, we choose the Connice modeling preset. Back in edit mode, we spike the ends by setting the radius to 0 and adjust overlapping points to give it more volume. Finally, we mirror the tribal on Y and Z using the CD as reference. For the sticker, we add a simple plane and mirror that as well with the mirror modifier. The 3D object part is done. Do you want this project file? It's available on my Patreon. There you will get access to over 70 Blender project files. Thank you for your support.
Lighting.
We split the viewport, switch to viewport shading number 4 and open the shader editor. Here we change in the world mode. Then we plug in an environment texture, mapping and texture coordinates. Upload the HDRI and rotate it until the highlights feel sharp but controlled. Now let's switch to cycles. This is essential for proper CD reflections. No worries, these setups are really fast and works almost on any system. Change the viewport samples to around 50 and turn on denoise. Under final render, set 100 samples, then we enable path guiding and fast GI approximation. Under color management, switch to filmic with medium high contrast. Still slow? Adjust these values. Nothing crazy. And the lightning is done.
Materials.
For this part we use the free add-on Blender Kit. It is a built-in online asset library for Blender that provides models, materials, HDRIs and more. Blender Kit is already integrated into Blender. Go under Edit, Preferences, Get Extensions and search for Blender Kit. And after installation you find it here on this site. We start with the Chrome material. Search for Chrome and let's grab it from Blender Kit. This one already does exactly what we need. That's it. Now we create the plastic material inside the CD. Search for plastic transparent in Blender Kit. We slightly darken the glossy colors, set anisotropy to around 0.6 and match all roughness values to 0.3. This is where the CD really starts to feel physical. Now let's build the real CD material. Blender Kit CD materials aren't great, so we create our own. First, add 2 mix shaders and 1 glossy BSDF. Change anisotropy to 0.6. Duplicate the glossy BSDF. Split them into red, green and blue and blend them together. A layer weight node drives the color shifts as the CD rotates. To control how wide the reflection bands are, we use a combine XYZ setup and change Z to 1. For Y, add a value node with 0.15 and a to multiply and value -1. We want colorful reflection on mirror surface. For that we copy the inner plastic material, remove transparency and add a metal BSDF. Combine everything with an edge shader. Adjust color in the glossy BSDF to white and zero out all values in the metal BSDF. And at this point, even the spikes start to reflecting probably. Now let's create the custom print and sticker materials. We render the tribal on a black background and turn it into a clean black and white illustration using ChatGPT. Use this prompt, it works perfect, look at this result. Now we create our sticker. Search for a reference image on Pinterest. I use this one. Insert the image and your tribal in ChatGPT and use this prompt. Perfect. In the end, we create the CD print. Search again for a reference image. Insert it in ChatGPT with your tribal and use this prompt. I'm not good in illustrations, so the results are really good. I'm happy to save some time with you. Back in Blender, we copy the plastic material for the print material. Replace transparency with metallic BSDF and don't forget to adjust the anisotropy value. Drag and drop the image inside and connect it this way. Adjust the mapping until everything lines up perfectly. If the CD effect feels too strong, we simply DL back the mix value. For the sticker, we keep it simple. Create a new material with metallic and roughness around 0.5, then project it the same way cleanly onto the surface. We are done with the materials, but here's a quick tip. If you work with cycles, adjust the lightning always in the end to get the best result. Look how big the difference is. The plastic in the center is now too dark, but we can fix it fast. And here we go. In the end, we add some glow. We render a frame pressing F12, switch to the compositor, and add a glare node and set it to bloom. A small threshold is enough to make the highlights pop without overdoing it. And that's it.
Animation.
Finally, let's animate the CD. First, we change the animation duration to 150 frames. We want to keep all objects separate, but still animate everything together. To do that, we add an empty. Now we select all objects that should be animated, select the empty last, press Command P and choose Object, Keep Transform. With the empty selected, we set the rotation keyframe at the start of the animation. Then we move the timeline to the end, rotate it by 360 degrees, and add another keyframe. And with that, we are done with the tutorial. Got any theme suggestions? Drop them in the comments or send me your theme related artwork examples on social media. Thank you for watching, see you next week.